Hey y'all, I'm Shayna and I'm back with another review. This is for Tyler Perry Sistas Season 6, Episode 18 from the Blind Side. And it should have been called Gary's Double Life. But we gonna get into it. I know y'all were asking where was the review last week. I missed it and I ain't missed much. I just want to go ahead and get into this because this episode was crazy. Finally, Tyler Perry did his big one because he was losing me with Sistas. Real quick, last week, Bio cussed out Sabrina. Danny doesn't want to go home to Preston. She needs to let that man go. Okay. Let him be free. And Zatima, they want to get little Michael. And it seems like all season long is going to be them trying to run around and find this child. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this episode. So we pick up where we left off with Jordan, Andy's date, introducing Gary to Andy. So they at the date night, the friend gathering, and Gary act like he never met Andy. And she's like, yes, we have met. And he's like, no, we haven't. And I'm like, what's going on here? I was thinking maybe he set her up like he was pretending to be his friend to get closer to Andy. But child, no. Um, really, truthfully, if Gary gonna be living double and triple and quadruple lives, he needs to come up with an alias. Like you going by your real name with all these broken homes you creating. My God. But if I was Andy, I would have blown up his whole spot right then and there. I wouldn't even have found out what happened later because I would have blown up his spot on the spot. So Danny and Sabrina on the side, like, what's going on over there? And they guys like, oh, well, how do y'all know Gary? So Sabrina, like, we know him from around the way. Like that don't even make around what way? So Danny and Sabrina get up because they like, we gonna go see what's going on. So they like, hey Gary. And Gary looking like, oh my gosh, like what are y'all? Do y'all too? Yes. Yes. So now when Andy tries to go and take him back after all this, he really gonna be looking crazy because now the sisters know. So they go inside, they're talking. Andy wants to leave, of course, but I'm like, girl, you should be the main. Danny sitting there talking about, I want to find out what's tea. Andy should be the one wanting to find out. Danny already got enough going on. Where is Preston? So Danny go and she called Gary. She like, Gary, come here. And all the men come in the house with the food. Like, I don't, I said, Gary, come here. But what's the point of calling Gary? He's not going to tell him nothing. If he can sit here and act like he never met Andy in front of Andy, child, he liable to lie about anything. But it's Andy said next week on the preview that it's her karma, and it is. It very much is. Anyway, so Jordan was like, because he asked once, like, is something going on between y'all? I would have been getting to the bottom of it. What's going on between y'all? There's too much tension. It's weird. What's happening here? Y'all gonna tell me what's going on. But he ain't press it. So Jordan's sister Penelope walks in, pregnant, big and pregnant, like at least 6 months pregnant. Okay, her back hurting, she waddling in, and she says she's having their first child. And you know, the sisters was like, "Whose first child?" She said her and Gary's first child. My. How does that make sense? Tyler forgets what he writes. When we first met Gary, he had 2 kids. I ain't forget. Then he went from having 2 kids to one autistic child with his wife. Now we done forgot about him having a wife and kids. How did this happen? So Penelope says she and Gary are engaged and have been together for 3 years. Child, he been running game on Penelope longer than he been running game on Andy. Is his divorce even finalized with his wife? Only Tyler Perry knows. But I knew that engagement to Andy was BS. And that whole wedding thing, because everybody was like, oh, thank goodness Karen talked her out of that. He didn't have no marriage license. You can't have a surprise wedding and no marriage license. It's not going to be legitimate without the papers. So that was just nonsense anyway. And he did that. But his ex-wife, wasn't she supposed to be filing papers from divorce from the jail cell? What happened with that? Anyway. So Penelope says that Gary is always busy working. I bet they always are when they live in double lives. So the sisters are talking on the side, and Andy was like, she don't want to tell Penelope because she's pregnant. She don't want to hurt another Black woman. Girl, where was this energy when you was hurting his Black wife? let's not forget Andy was representing his wife as her divorce lawyer at one point. This is crazy. And then you kept messing with that man because he bought you some bags and a purse and an apartment. Over at Karen's, we really didn't even need no scenes with nobody else. Really, I don't care what's going on with nobody else, but let's go through it real quick. So at Karen's, the appraiser comes over to her house to give her the numbers. Why everybody always coming to everybody's house? Like, y'all don't got phones? He couldn't call? How did he get her address? But anyway, she opens the door and lets him in. I would have been talking through the door. So he seemed like he low-key flirting with her, even though he got a wife and 100 kids. The editing was awful, though. One minute he was sweating bullets, and the next minute he was like pancake casket sharp, like powdered down. Oh, my goodness. So he gives her the numbers, and he like, I'm trying to help this, single mother. And she like, how you know I was a single mother? And furthermore, why do you care? Where is your wife? So Karen calls Pam, and she like, give me some products from the beauty supply store. If I was Pam, I wouldn't have the time because I would have been got me a new job. But that's just me. I digress. Over at Maurice and Calvin's place, Calvin said that he wants to hook Maurice up with a nice guy who's going to treat him like a king. Don't care. Moving on, Zac and Fatima are outside his baby mama's house. I always forget the first baby mama's name. But anyway, the nosy neighbor tells him that the child was limping around and they've been gone all day. She thinks he might be in the hospital. So Zac was like, thank you. Here's a stack of cash for your troubles. And the neighbor going to pretend to be offended, talking about, I ain't doing this for your money. I'm doing this for the well-being of that child. Girl, hush. Please stop. They apologized like 100 times. Fatima, just sit back. Let Zac speak for himself. He's a grown man. After they apologized, the neighbor was like, well, hold on. Not so fast. I could use me a little piece of change. Bring that stack back. Girl, why didn't you have to do all that? You could have just took the money and said thank you, but whatever. Because he was like, let's just go with money in hand. I know you wasn't going to let that money just walk off. But they plan on going to the hospital to find said child, which don't make no sense to me once we get to it later because they don't even know the boy's information. Pam calls Karen after she leaves the beauty supply store, and Karen says she want to start doing hair out of her house temporarily because it's going to take 5 months for them to fix the shop, especially since she don't got no insurance. But in the meantime, she'll be a kitchen beautician, so she can only hire Pam part-time. That's a hell no for me. Pam, please get a new job, please. And what would she really need Pam for if you're doing your hair in your house? I don't understand. She got Pam calling her clients off her personal cell phone. I don't think so. So Zatima, Zac, and Fatima, they leave the emergency room feeling defeated. They don't even know his so-called son's last name, which makes me furthermore believe, is this DNA test they did legitimate? How you would do a DNA test? You don't know the child's last name. Do you know his date of birth? You walking up in here talking about where's Michael? Michael who? Anyway, when the police came, he should have been asking, they should have had papers, some information with this child. I don't know none of the child's information. So Zac doesn't understand why Fatima accepts him and all his baggage, and neither do I. She says she's not perfect. Back in the day, she was messing with some boy in the neighborhood. She got pregnant at 17 and had a miscarriage. I know they're trying to share this story to show that nobody's perfect, but how are we comparing a decision you made at 17 to Zac and all his mishaps at 30-something? Ever since she met Zac, he been in and out of jail, broke. He did a shim sham and a scam to get some money. He ain't worked since. That money he about to lose it already. 2 baby mamas pop up out of nowhere, and one of them he slept with while he was messing with you. I just don't see how we are comparing the two. But whatever. So Fatima says she wants to have his baby. Now, I don't got BET Plus, but y'all told me that she pregnant on Zatima. So congratulations. Sisters need to catch on up to whatever's going on Zatima. Back at Jordan's place, the ladies are chatting. Penelope says Gary had bought her an apartment and a car. How much money does Gary have that he able to buy all these women, all these properties and vehicles? Danny asked if it was a Rolls Royce. And P was like, no, I'm not that type of girl. And they was like, what you mean that type of girl? And she's like, I'm not flashy. It's homeless people on the streets and I'm just driving a Rolls Royce. What that got to do with me? Why can't I enjoy a nice luxury car? Because it's homeless people on the streets. So they start laughing because they're like, that's funny because Andy got one. I thought, did Andy ever get rid of it? What happened to her old car? I don't know. Anyway, they was like, yeah, a man bought one for Andy. And Penelope was like, oh, you have a Gary too. Girl, literally. The irony. So Danny was telling them, like, look, I can't hold it in much longer. She keeps saying that. And Penelope, like, what's going on? Like, why she keep saying that? And they're like, oh, don't mind her. She just drunk. They always trying to shush Danny. I can't stand it. So, they blame it on the alcohol. I don't know why, but Sabrina's guy pulls her. No, I think it was Danny's guy pulls her up to start dancing, and Danny just going with the flow. It's like Preston is just not even there anymore. Write his character off. Like, I don't want to take nobody check, but there's really no need for him to be there anymore. So she going with him. Sabrina go dance with her guy. So Penelope trying to push Jordan to dance with Andy. He like, I can't dance. I got 2 left feet. Andy's just looking like, I don't want to be here any longer. I don't know how she played it off as long as she did. I would have been snapped. So Penelope and Gary get up, they dancing, and Gary really acting like he never met Andy a day in his life. The food start burning and everybody run off. So Andy like, look, this is our chance, let's leave. And Danny like, no, she deserves to know. Penelope needs to know. And here go Andy on her soapbox. No, I can't do that. She's pregnant. She's so nice. I can't tear another Black woman down. Danny had a point in my eyes. That's all the more reason why she needs to know. She's pregnant and she's about to have a child with an absolute monster that's living a quadruple life. Who knows who else he got children with on the side? Talking about she having his first. He don't even claim the children he got with his wife. I don't know. I guess Andy don't care because she gonna keep messing with him, and she got her penthouse, so whatever. But child, this is a mess. I don't even know where Tyler gonna go with this. How is Gary going to stick around any longer after all this? Andy can't keep dating Jordan because it's just too messy. But Danny wants Andy to tell, and as they're in the middle of arguing about it, really, first of all, when Andy says she wants to go, they should have left. Like, Danny, you can't dictate if I stay or go. Girl, if you want to ride, you better come on. But Penelope walks in, she hears everything. And that's where the episode ends, on another cliffhanger. So this episode was good. Cut out everybody else and let's focus on what's happening at hand. What's going to go on with Penelope, Andy, and will we ever incorporate his wife back into the storyline? She went to jail and we ain't heard from her since. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this episode. It might be even better next season because we have new writers in the room. Hallelujah. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.